first areas we had in our yard was when we bought the yard, we didn't even know this had tiers because it was all overgrown with ivy and there was saplings coming up. So I cleared it all out, and this was full of English ivy. So we had a bare slope that would just kind of erode during the rains. So what we did is, when I first started rescuing, I started plopping ferns onto this slope. And now we have just about every kind of fern you can imagine. I don't even know what some of these are. So I think this is sensitive fern. It's not so sensitive, it's quite aggressive. It's a native, but this one will take over the yard. So you have to be careful. We're constantly pulling this guy up. This is a maidenhair, one of my favorite rescues. Northern maidenhair. I don't know what these ferns are. Wood ferns? I don't know. But as you can see, they're loving it here. We're gonna walk along here. This is a different type of fern. If you look down here, you can kind of see they have very woolly stems. I'm not doing a good job getting in here, but those are the stems. I think these are wood ferns. But this one here is different than that one there. The fronds and the spores are different. So it's, as you can see, this one, you see the spores, is different than this one. They're growing on top of each other. And now this entire slope is covered in ferns. Our first rescue were these are evergreen. They call them Christmas ferns. Those are our very first. Filled a whole truckload of those. This is a better look. Instead of me digging through the fronds, this you can see the stems. This is another fern here. This is even different. And you can see it has reddish. I think they call this lady in red, but I could be wrong. Again, don't know half the ferns on the property. This is another fern. This guy creates a really cool ground. It covers an entire area. So you can see this is in here with woodruff and trillium. This is what they call interrupted fern. You can see why. The stem, fronds stop and start. And you see all the ferns growing in here. This is cinnamon fern. I'm doing this a little late, but in the middle, it puts up these cinnamon colored, look like cinnamon sticks right down the middle of the fern. Looks very similar to interrupted fern, one of the biggest ferns around here. And you can see all of the ferns that are growing here. Again, this was a bare slope with nothing on it. I removed the ivy, and now we have all these ferns. What's nice about these ferns is that they kind of hold the leaf matter in place and kind of give all the other woodland plants a chance. And right here, this is Solomon seal and a clump of blood root. See, the ferns kind of are all massed in here. This is loaded with slender salamanders. We have eastern newts, all kinds of, there's toads in here, wood frogs. Again, it combines with woods poppy. This is doll's eyes, starting to seed up. This is wild geraniums. This is another favorite rescue. This is beach fern. You could tell the triangular leaves, very low growing. We have a huge patch of it down there. And as you can see, down there, those are ostrich ferns, but the ferns, we brought them over to this bank as well. They hold the dirt and the leaf matter and allow us to plant other plants. But every one of these ferns, these are rescued. Here's another good view of that ground cover fern. As you can see, it's intermixed in here. Does a good job. Even though they're ferns, they do hold the water and the leaf mold, so you don't have to water as much. We've only really had to water on really, really hot days where there's long periods of heat and no rain, which is not usual here in New Jersey. So here you can see how they've completely created a nice mat cluster, and who knows what lives underneath there. Worms, centipedes, all kinds of insects, more interrupted fern, more maidenhair, very lush. Ferns are everywhere, as you can see, and we'll come up the other way. I just wanted to show you a nice cluster of this one fern. As you can see, it's just nice, a nice ground cover here. Again, all the insects that are in the soil that provide food for reptiles and amphibians, ground songbirds. And if you could see this, you can't really see this, but these interrupted ferns are 4 feet tall. I'm walking through. Coming on over here, up this path, you see all the interrupted ferns. These are all rescues. And now we're safe. These were all been destroyed by bulldozers. Cinnamon ferns over here. Another fern there. And up here, we have ostrich ferns. These are young ones. We moved all the big ones because this is a wood poppy field here. You can see the wood poppies going to seed. But this was kind of a dead zone back in here. Nothing grew, so we've moved the ostrich ferns to cover, make a complete green mat. And I'll come back up here. And this is another type of fern. Don't know what this guy is either. He takes quite a bit of sun. It runs by the roots. It's not clumping. You can see these are individual fronds. I don't know what this one is either. And you can see there are ferns. We keep ferns everywhere. Okay, we hope you enjoyed that. And that is a kind of a walkthrough of all the ferns in our garden. Don't forget ferns. They add a nice look. You can mix woodland plants with them. They intermix, they play nice, except for maybe the sensitive fern. And they add structure to your garden. Because look at that. With the fern here, the iris shape there, the big leaves of hostas, and the woodruff. Perfect. Hope you enjoyed.